Hi, friends. This is Deepak, and obviously with me is Sanjiv ji. Good news is I don't have to go to his office physically anymore. Thanks to social distances, we can be anywhere and still do our updates. So obviously, we had a very, very massive bill, and I think there's another one going to come out. President Joe Biden or President-elect Joe Biden has promised to come up with even more help. But Sanjeev ji, just give us a quick update as to what can our people expect out of this particular relief package?
Yes, so as everyone knows, President Trump did at the last moment on Sunday night to sign this massive COVID-19 relief bill, which has about $900 billion stimulus payments to unemployed, like business owners, PPP, and other benefits. Plus, there's a $1.4 trillion appropriation fund for running the government till September 2021. So the bullet points that was there in this bill that was signed into law is first of all, it's an unemployment benefit of $300 per week till March 14th, 2021. So there people who are unemployed can get $300 federal payment per week. Uh, then the second is a stimulus payment, which is known as economic impact payment of $600 for person who is single and not married, and the income level of that person is less if it's less than $75,000, then is going to get the $600 payment, one-time payment. Remember, the first payment that economic impact payment was passed was $1,200. This is the second installment of $600. Now, if you're married filing joint, you get $1,200. With kids, if you have one kid, you get $600. If you have two kids, you get $1,200. So earlier, with the earlier stimulus, it was $2,400, uh, and one kid was $500. This is $1,200. So half of what was there in the first stimulus payment. So your income level for married filing joint is less than $150,000. One change in this second payment of economic impact payment is uh, for non-resident aliens, people who don't have a social security number, but have one spouse has social security numbers, one spouse don't have social security number, apply for IT number, they can get this economic impact payment. Earlier it was not there, but this is the change. There is a welcome relief for people who don't have social security numbers. So it's a change for them. That's one thing. So we have economic impact payments, unemployment benefit. They have extended the pandemic unemployment assistance for uh, for people like self-employed gig workers. They've extended another 11 months, 11 weeks of payment till March 14th. They also extended the pandemic emergency assistance payment that was for people who were state benefit have been gone. They've extended the state benefit by another 11 weeks. So it's till April 14th, 2021. So they've extended those things. Then there's one more benefit for individuals is the $300 extension, the $300 charitable deduction which was given on their AGI, like on the adjustment to income. Now they've doubled it to $600. So that's another welcome relief for a lot of people who are going to file the returns. So these are the things for individual tax filers. For business owners, we have the second PPP2 loan, and there are a lot of changes in this second PPP2. First thing is, the first thing is with the second with this relief bill for PPP2 is meant for business owners who have less than 300 employees. The earlier one was 500 or less, so it's 300 or less employees, mostly targeted to hardest hit businesses, special allocation for hardest hit businesses, special allocation for minority owned, special allocation for TV, news channels, newspapers, broadcasting, other for restaurants, for other hardest hit businesses. We have special allocation for minority owned. So they've targeted different sectors of this like different sector of the population. So this is $284 billion second PPP loan. It's based upon the same rules of 2.5 times the payroll of 2019. But the important thing is they're targeted to those business owners who have suffered decrease in revenue by more than 25% in any one quarter of 2020 as compared to prior year relevant period relevant quarter of 2019. So if you support, let's say in the for second quarter of 2020, any revenue drop by more than 25%, when we compare to the second quarter of 2019, you are eligible business for applying the second PPP loan. Again, it's based on 2015 payroll. It's not based on the gross income. This gross income is a qualifying factor for getting for applying for the second PPP. How much loan you will get is still based on 2.5 times the payroll. If you are a restaurant owner and hotel industry, if you are a hotel industry owners, then it's based on 3.5 times. So they have given one time more for restaurants and hotel industry owners. So they're given that additional benefit of one time. Now, if you're not a business owner, if you're not in business in 2019, but you have started business in first quarter of 2020, then any second, third quarter drop in the revenue by more than 25%. In fact, fourth quarter, if you drop any revenue as compared to first quarter, you can apply for this PPP loan. Now, it's important that in this PPP2 loan, we have to understand the cover period. We know earlier it was 8 weeks or 24 weeks. They are given a choice of to it's like it can be between any week between 8 to 24 weeks. It's not that you have to go to full 24 weeks or full 8 weeks. Minimum 8 weeks, but it can be 10 weeks, it can be 12 weeks. So you can there's a flexibility of choosing the period as of now. It can change later. We have to like we know when SBA came with instructions, you can see the how many instructions we got in PPP1. So we will get likewise instruction for PPP2. As of now, it looks like it's based on the payroll and it's based upon certain things which are there for right now.
So it sounds like Sanjeevji, the criteria is pretty much same as the last PPP loan, right?
The criteria remains the same, but the criteria is changed. For example, it has to be a drop in the revenue by more than 25%.
Oh, that was not there the last time.
No, it was not about a significant drop in the revenue. It was just based on 2019.
So this time, so basically, what you're saying is this time the business owners needs to go back and calculate for each quarter how much revenue they had, and if in any quarter, and by the way, just to clarify for all our listeners here, is when we say quarter, do we mean like January, February, March, or it could be any 3 months?
No, January, February, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth.
So like that, right? So people needs to kind of divide their revenue because small businesses don't really look at the revenue that way.
Right.
But in this particular case, people do need to sort of like build a chart that what did I do in 2019? What did I do in 2020? Am I correct?
Yes.
And then if you have seen a drop of 25%, then you can apply.
Yes. So 25% drop in revenue. Now people can ask the question how to what do you mean by revenue? So revenue basically, if you take in stricter terms, is about the money getting in the bank, is a deposit in the bank.
Yeah.
That's the surest way. But some people are on accrual basis. So, well, the thing is, with accrual basis, you can manipulate. You can date the invoices from one month to another month, and then you can make your business looks like qualification. So I will suggest not to do any kind of this kind of manipulation. It's based on, that's why I will put all my bets on the money received in the bank on that one.
That's the easiest calculation. Now let me ask you this another follow-up question on in the same scenario, just to clarify this even further. Now let's just say a particular business had a drop in the second quarter, but they had a great third quarter or the fourth quarter. So technically as a year overall they did not lose anything, but in one particular quarter they lost something. Do they still qualify?
Yes, they still qualify. They say it's any one quarter if you see a drop. It does not mean that
it's our government, right?
So they can recover that money in another quarter. No. So it's based on the instruction that exists as of now. It's based on any one quarter drop by more than 25%.
So there you go, friends. You have that answer. You need to do that calculation. If you haven't done so already, you should reach out to your accountant, whoever is doing. They can easily do it for you. But very simple math, like Sanjeevji said, just look at your bank statement, look at the deposits for every quarter for 2019, compare that with 2020. If you had a 25% or more drop in revenue, you qualify for this PPP loan. You can get up to 2.5 times of your payroll. I'm assuming, Sanjeevji, that's based on the payroll that you're running in that quarter, right? So whatever.
No, it's based on payroll on 2019.
Oh, really? Okay. So not in 2020.
The amount of loan is based on 2019 payroll. The eligibility for applying for PPP2 is based on decrease in the revenue by more than 25% in a particular quarter as compared to prior year quarter.
So basically,
Okay.
so sounds like the loan amount is very similar to the last PPP loan. There's no change
Yeah.
there. The
But there's
only
a
change,
qualified factor.
yeah, just the only change is the qualifying factor. So there you
Yes.
go.
So yeah.
Uh,
So those things are important. But I have to list out other things which are there, which is important for a lot of people here. So if you have not got the full amount of PPP1, for example, you applied for PPP1, is the first loan we are talking about PPP1. If you applied for PPP1, but you were not able to calculate properly and you get a reduced amount, you can ask for an increase to that amount. So it's not just what you get, you just get take it and apply forgiveness. In case you get a reduction, you can ask the lender for increase in the differential. For example, if you're based on 2019, 2.5 times it comes to 50,000, but by mistake you applied for 30,000, so you can ask for increase of $20,000. That's the second thing. Third thing is you have to understand the definition of forgivable expenses have been expanded. That's a big change. So it applies for PPP1, it applies for PPP2. So what is this extension? So 60% definitely we know the payroll cost, gross wages, salaries, commission, employer portion of contribution to retirement, employer contribution to medical expenses. All these are there. 60% definitely has to be on payroll. 40% we know is on rent, utilities, and mortgage interest payments. But they have increased the more uh, categories for expenses. What are those categories? One is current operating expenditure. It includes payment made for software, payment made for cloud computing expenses, payment made for HR development, HR resources, human resources, payment for accounting needs. Okay, so these are broad categories of operating expenditure. So there are companies who have not paid or not able to pay rent because they're not operating, and landowners have worked with them, but they have this cost of working from home, cloud computing, software. They have to buy software. They have to incur accounting needs like paying fees to CPAs. So those are important expenses which are included. Then there is a current supplier cost. Supplier cost doesn't mean contracting services. Supplier cost means supplier who is providing materials. So if there's an existing contract and you have to buy goods for the according to the contract before or during the loan period of this PPP2 loan, then any expenses incurred for the material purchased from a supplier. So it's more important for restaurants, for hotels, for other industries who buy materials from suppliers. So that is also included in that expenses. So operating expenses, then we have supplier cost, right? And then we have a protective environment. Anything done in the office, in your space, that to or PPP and other expenses that you incurred to adhere to all the rules of health and safety environment, that will be also included there. So these broad categories are important. And in case your business get damaged by any disturbances, for example, we've seen uh, lot of violence
Riots
in
and fires
June
and
and July. So if you've done something to repair those things, and the insurance company is not paying you, that also expenses will be included. So and that not only qualifies for PPP2 but qualify for PPP1 also. So it's a very good thing that they've expanded this thing for this kind of PPP loan forgiveness. Now, the most important thing, the fourth point, which is important, is they have streamlined the application for PPP loan forgiveness. So up to loan amount of $150,000 is one page, few items, information. Of course, you have to keep documents for all the expenses that you incurred, for the FT calculation, for a reduction in wages, all those things you have to keep it for record for 4 years. SBA can audit and IRS can oversight. They can do oversight. But getting forgiveness, one page, very simple. Loan amount up to 150,000 for all the people who got the loans up to 150,000. The SBA is going to prepare that format in between 10 days from it becomes a law. So the SB is going to come out with the new forms for this one. So that's important. It's a streamlined application. So if you already applied for forgiveness and not receive anything, you can withdraw that application and wait for this one page or form if the loan amount is less than 150,000. But if you think you already applied and you're very certain to get forgiveness, then there's no need to go for this kind of form. But it's a great thing that is happening. Last but not the least, the double dipping of expenses. People have been worried about this. whether they will allow the double dipping. Now in this bill, they say you can double dipping. What do you mean by double dipping? The payroll costs and other expenses that you used from payroll from this PPP money, you can deduct from PPP loan, use for forgiveness, and the same expenses you can use as a tax deduction on your tax return, lowering your taxable income. We know that PPP loan is not an income, it's tax free. So expenses also you can double dip. So you can use that expense against tax free income as well as use that expenses on your tax return as a deduction. So that's double dipping. So a lot of people, that's benefit to the maximum that you can do. Uh, few pointers also are there with the bill, like the EIDL grant. The EIDL grant that people have received like $1,000 per employee up to $10,000. Earlier we know that EIDL grant will reduce your PPP loan forgiveness. Now they said no, that grant will not reduce your forgiveness. You will get full forgiveness plus that remain as a grant. So nothing that will offset this one.
So,
So
Sanjeevji, I know there's probably a lot more information to cover, but I'm running out of time on this segment. So, why don't we do a more detailed video on PPP loans and we'll get people more information? For example, how do you apply for the second loan? What if you already have a loan and you haven't been forgiven? Should you apply or should you get the forgiven? I know there are many questions. I can think of 10, 15 of them that are coming and bothering me to ask you right now, but we got to go. We have this other program coming up, so we got to run for that. But guys, if you guys have any questions, Sanjeevji office is open. You can definitely reach out to us. If you're already our client, I'm sure whoever is managing your account is already reaching out to you, helping you with all that kind of stuff. But if you're trying to do it yourself, our office is always available to help. Just give us a call, 510-825-7563. It's the most famous number in Bay Area. So you can call that number and set up a consulting appointment with Sanjeevji. He'll be able to help you guys out. Or whoever is doing your taxes in our office, they should be able to run the calculations for you as well if you already have your numbers. And if we are not doing your taxes or do not have a business relationship with us, you can reach out to your accountant, your CPA. They should be able to help you out as well. We do have a webinar coming up in January. That one is going to be more focused on how to prepare for your 2020 taxes for businesses as well as individuals. So Sanjeevji will talk about some of the strategies, how you can reduce your taxable income. What can you do so that way you pay the least amount of taxes as possible, similar to our president, hopefully. So those are all the things coming up. If you haven't registered, just head over to sanjeevcpa.com and register there. And Sanjeevji, I'll talk to you tomorrow in much more detail about this PPP2. All right. Thank you so
okay,
much for joining us today. Really appreciate it, Sanjeevji.
thank you.